Strategic leadership. Strategic leadership.
Okay.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What is strategic leadership? It's the ability to anticipate, envision, maintain flexibility, think strategically, and work with others in the organization to initiate changes that will create a viable and valuable future for the organization. This includes 6 basic moves, including determining the organization's purpose or vision, exploiting and maintaining the organization's core competencies, developing the organization's human capital, creating and sustaining a strong organizational culture, emphasizing ethical organizational decisions and practices, and establishing appropriately balanced organizational controls. So that's what strategic leadership is, and we want to be brief, but we want to talk about one of the things of strategic ability is the ability to anticipate things. We've given lectures many times on the ability of anticipating. This is the value of history. Remember Quran, Hadith, history, and our experience. If you have those assets down pat, you can anticipate generally what a system or what a people can do, just like watching fights or watching football games of the great teams. You can anticipate the majority of their plays. If you watch a professional fighter, if he's a champion, he's been fighting the same way. That's what got him a champion. He will not change his way of fighting. He may improve. But if you study him very well, you can find some opening and some gaps if he don't kill you before you discover them. So anticipation means to look ahead, to visualize what are we going to come in contact with, what challenges will we face, what obstacles do we face. And anticipation also helps you able to use those challenges and obstacles as an asset for your own growth and development. Especially, we look at challenges as not bad. We look at challenges as good. And we're not like late middle-aged or older people that, as life goes on. They say most people, the older they get, the happier they get. And that's basically, it's true. Because when you're young, you want to please everybody else. When you're young, this, that, and other. And when you're old, even if you're in business, you done started your business, you done got through the hard part, the first years, and you get up so high, and then you had to hire people to help and develop, and then you want to cruise the rest of the time. We're not like that. It is natural to want to get to a certain level and then kind of cruise. We don't want to do that. Why? Because of the lesson that we've learned. That in order to get where we want to go, we have to continue to evolve and continue to grow and develop. In order to do that, the bigger the challenges, the bigger the obstacles, the better we become. So that takes a lot of training, to train yourself to not want stability, comfort and all that stuff. You got to train because it's natural to want that. Everybody works to have a stable, predictable life. You know? So, strategic leadership is the ability to anticipate, envision. Envision, of course, in this case, like we talk about 2020 vision. 2020 vision is a short range, you know, like, let's call it low medium range, because we're looking, for us, 2020 vision is 2017 to the end of 2020, which is, let's say, 3.5 or 4 years. So envisioning in the short term, what do we want to look like in the short term? So this period of development, 2020 vision, that means by then we will want not just, of course we're remodeling, painting and all that, that's just real short range, like this today, tomorrow, for the next few months. We'll be doing that type of thing. That's just a facelift. It also shows people that people come by, they see the Masjid dingy looking, and they begin to think that's where their mind is at. Then they send along Negroes along to take your victory. To have all those cars parked out there is a victory for us. Because remember, their plan is to break you. But if they bring along a Negro and mix that in with junk cars, junk trucks, it don't look like a victory anymore. It looks like a parking lot for junk cars, not a bank account to where you got a lot of cars. If you need some money, if they steal your money, you can sell the cars. Don't look like that. You lose a little money by they get older and older, but what the heck? So, believe it or not, painting the masjid, painting the house next door, then we'll paint that one next week. The end of next week, we'll do paperwork for the first part of the week. It means that, as Brother Tufel said the other day, this will give us a uniform look, the same trim, the same everything. That's what it'll look like to people, and that's what we are. We're on a unified vibe now, not a disjointed. So envisioning is to be able to envision or visualize the long range. What do we want to look like in 10 years? What do we want to look like in 20 years? And technically, what do we want to look like in 30 years? So we're technically getting ready for the global transition, and we want to play a part, not only influence the direction of change, but we're realistic. You have to have power to influence the direction of change. Because in all of this, we don't hear anyone talking about it or acting in a way that they want to make a better world, but under what morality? Right? Do they have a clique that they are part of? There's a problem with our Iranian brothers. Our Iranian brothers have formed a clique. And that clique started a long time ago during Rafsanjani's time. And that clique continued on till the diplomats and statesmen were able to bring in more and more and more of their home folks. So the foreign ministry in Iran is packed with the integrationists. let's call them the Isnas of, yeah, definitely. They are Isna, I'm telling you, they group. All the Shia groups in the last 10 years have shifted to, you almost can't tell the difference. They have some of the same speakers as Isna and Ikna. Yeah, they do. It was clear to me, you saw that I made the same lectures in 1990. This is nothing new. And it was 10 years ago, good God Almighty, when we made the talks on Iran. So you can see that we have a long-range vision on all of this. This is actually wonderful. So envisioning means that we don't respond to stuff like they do little stuff here and there. We don't have to respond to that because we have a long-range vision. And the way we've been able to manipulate the environment is because we have a long-range vision. If we had a little short-range, a little Negro vision, they could manipulate us with loss or gain or what have you, right? So we don't want their gain. We're not afraid of their loss. We have our goal and we have our focus. This is where many people miss out on everything, is that they allow the system to influence them. You know, my daughters went to, and one still goes to Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall is known as a great Supreme Court justice, NAACP lawyer. He did good stuff. But he also was a snitch for the FBI. Not that he was a snitch to go around telling on people, but J. Edgar Hoover had scared them to death. You got communists in there. He would have proved to white folks, right? To J. Edgar Hoover that he ain't got no communists in the NAACP. The Iranians, right downtown, do stuff to me to prove to the white man that we got him under control and we da-da-da-da-da. If you remember the last real positive talk I gave on Iran, the Iranian diplomats, the best, the next day, the little benefit that we've been had going on for I don't know how long, they called me, they were holding up for me, so I just tried. The next day, hey, can we just come by and say hello? Sure, come on back. Going to send so-and-so. Good. I was just doing that to see where they was at. Then I came back a little later and said, da-da-da-da-da. I haven't heard from them since. This is the historical process to anticipate. When did we anticipate Iranians would act funny? 1980, 1981, right after the revolution. Why would they act funny? Because people always act funny after the revolution. They always do. So we have to do the best we can from those days up to today. And we have to have our eye on them all the time. And we're watching all the time as they get pulled further and further, and the good brothers go home, and the ones that stay here for a reason. And then, when it's all said and done, here the last few years, in every Anjuman program, the brothers come and, Imam Musa, all the Iranians love you. I said, oh my goodness. Now they don't know, I try to tell everybody, stop doing that. Because the rule is all the same. It's the rule, I don't make them, but I sure follow them. I said the rule of everybody in love with you is you better duck fast. You better put up your stuff. You love me? Go ahead, let's see it. Yeah. That's what it means. I don't want to stay too busy on Iran, but Iran, we have to help. See, when Allah sets you up, you're gonna fulfill your pledge. I gave the last 3 years I've been giving a talk that basically Allah has handed the Shia community and half, I mean hands now. It don't mean just Yemen. It don't mean Saudi Arabia messing up. You can listen to C-SPAN. Everybody knows it. Iran got big in Syria. Iran was big in Iraq. Iran. They handed them all of that. Just like they handed Iran everything, they hand us everything too. These last several decades of victory, they've been victory after victory, but they are victories that they hand to us because if you have a vision of where you're going and you don't change your vision. You can play with them, you can have a little fun here and there, but you're not going to be diverted from where you're going for no reason. That's the value of planning and envisioning. The future that we have seen, when we talk about 2020 vision, we have a vision of where we want to be, but we have a vision also of where we think they're going to be. And believe me, they are ahead of schedule. They're ahead of schedule and decline. Both Saudi Arabia is ahead of schedule. And everybody knows they did this, they did that. Iran just had an election. All those handkerchief-headed Iranians were jumping up and down in the street. Because Rouhani won, not a bad guy, but he's part of that team. He's part of the diplomatic team. Therefore, Iran. Therefore, they mix up. They stuff when they want to appease the white man. Sometimes you don't know whether they have become police, snitches, or they are skilled diplomats. Now I looked at them like how they treat me. The ones here, the ones in Iran, I looked at, I don't know if y'all remember, but for the last few years I would say things like, I'm going to Iran, I don't care what play they run, just whether they run the play. I don't know if y'all remember that. And I would say, yeah, they ran the play. Okay. So then, the next time, the last time I went, they ran the play again, an unnecessary play. So, I just put them on that list. Okay. Now, I have to study the players, and I studied all of them. Let's take the daftar over there, just the office here, intersection, embassy, whatever you want to call it. All the brothers in there are a collection of leaders from around the country, this student group in Arizona, in California, and I do them all. Okay, Texas, whatever. How they treated me showed me clearly where they was at. What I mean is, if Negroes tried to get me to stab Iranians in the back, I didn't do it. That's how I lost all my Negro friends, so-called Negro friends, right? But they all stick to the program. The intersection sticks to the program. All the other Iranian institutions stick to the program. The Indo-Pakistani Muslim Congress that was here eating, stick to the program. That means that you put your crew over right and wrong. See, if we're in the battle line and all of us struggling for the same thing, I can't stab you in the back because you're an Iranian and I'm African American to get the African American. Just like if they sacrifice me for their program and they all in on it, that means they violated the ethics of struggle. They have violated the ethics of struggle. So we're going to test them over and over again, just to give them a chance. They never repented and they never straightened up. Another thing I told them several years ago, I said, yeah, we're going to knock the European on this go round. Almost, that's a little arrogant. I say, you don't know us. They know the storybook Negroes. They know Malcolm X now. They know King now. They know all of that. They don't know us. We're not the same as Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. We've been in the same struggle, but we have 4 times as much longevity in it, right? If we were all the same, right, then we would be ahead of them. Okay, we're not like Martin Luther King. Why? Because he'd have a girlfriend and he'd go with girls. Okay, we don't do that. They done tried it too many times. Malcolm didn't have time to develop. He got hit in 65. That's almost day one, you know. Freedom rides, and March on Washington, and Watts ride, and he's dead. That quick. You see what I mean? So he didn't have time to develop. Okay, we got, today they celebrate the 50 years of Detroit. Can you imagine? Some of the paperwork I present is that old, what the police did. I don't know if I showed some of the arrests and stuff. That's 66, 67, 68, especially 67, 68, 69. Okay, so we have, forget about that 10 years before that was also teaching us about the system. So envisioning leadership, strategic leadership, they can anticipate what the system is going to do. The best way to anticipate is to learn through practice. The other thing is the people involved. See, the collaborators and the informers, they cannot grow like the target. Because every time you throw a challenge in front of the target, he gets bigger. The one that threw the challenge don't get any bigger. In other words, the monitors, the informers, the tattletales, they don't grow. They get some skill in how to hurt people's future and how to stop the growth. But when they get faced with Quran and Hadith, they block. They don't know what to do. The system don't know what to do. That's why we're the predator now. We're not susceptible to nothing. They are done. Only thing they can do is shoot and murder. And we've been putting up protection and screen for that, anticipating this stuff. Way back in the air war. Air war is 15 years ago when we started that. That means saying this, saying that. We putting up a protection. This is that. If this happened, that's what we've been doing. Hey, man. And now also, that voodoo type stuff. If you start hitting time after time after time, and you out analyze all of the top people all the time, you start spooking them. They spooked right now. Imam Khomeini spooked them. They said, the Shah said, well, we ain't gonna kill him because he'll make a martyr out of him. Imagine all the lectures we got out. Any public harm comes to me, people are gonna watch it. We got enough, all those lectures we was distributing, 5, 6, those are deadly. They cover all of this right now. We've been covering this territory for a long time. That's the purpose of it. You know, let's not call it life-saving, but because Allah is in charge. But ain't nothing nobody can do to us now. There's nothing, anything, slow it down? You can't slow anything down. Or speed it up. We go into the top because there's a hidden ingredient, ethics and morality, moral imagination. And when you get to the point, you know, they have stuff, they say, every man has a price, right? What they say. Generally, that's true. The other thing, power corrupts and absolute power absolutely corrupts. To them, that's true. It wasn't true with Imam Khomeini. So we see a guy had absolute power. When he's on a plane going back to Iran, been run off. How do you feel? He proved it when he got back. You see what I mean? So we have a visual model. Power corrupts them. And absolute power absolutely corrupts them. But absolute power didn't corrupt Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Absolute power didn't corrupt none of the prophets. They had absolute power, or they had absolute opposition and was powerless. But powerless is the opposite of power. It makes you feel different. And if you can control yourself when you're powerless, and you can control yourself the same way when you have absolute power, you've won the battle. So we didn't whoop the white man, we didn't whoop the pants off this cracker. Yes, we didn't whoop his pants off. And that's the way that is. So when we anticipate the future, we anticipate a future where we can help influence the direction of change. In order to do that, because they're going to set up all the games, they're going to have big power and influence. So we have to have big power and big ability to do things. Because the other people, the militia groups or the Jeffersonian type people, you know what I mean, they won't have the moral standard. They won't have the ethical standard, and they don't have no way of getting to it. They don't have any tazkiyah bil-nafs in anything. They believe in bold power. We get power, when we take it from them, we're going to teach them a lesson. Peace and love got to kick in. If not, we've been in big worse shape than we ever been. So we anticipate and envision. Says maintain flexibility. Not too rigid, just like a willow tree, you know, it'll lay on down, but it'll pop right back up. Them other big trees is rigid. When you walk in the woods, run in the woods, you see them laying down with the roots sideways. It wasn't flexible. Think strategically and work with others in the organization to initiate changes that will create a viable and valuable future for the organization, but for the world. This is evolution it's coalition building. And this time, we will participate. Remember, we always participate in coalitions. And during the old days, when they was, that stuff was a while back. Man alive. This stuff back here. Demonstration and rallies. Remember that? Hey man, this is 1999, and it was old then. Demonstration and rally. Stand up for truth and justice. First Amendment, due process. Stand against state terrorism aimed at Muslims. Villainization of Muslims, Islam, Anti-Terrorism Act, and assault on civil liberties. Secret evidence. They don't went past secret evidence. They can do anything they want to anybody now. They have 1984 type powers. Secretary of State and Religion. That meant that, there's First Amendment up here. The government should make no laws excluding freedom of speech, press, and religion. When they tell us where and how to distribute our zakat, it's a fundamental principle of Islam. You can't do that, and they let them do it. So that's what they meant, Secretary of State and Religion. Criminalization of humanitarian political activities, down with constitutional dictatorship. Same thing, rally against constitutional dictatorship, vote no. Domestic covert action against Muslim secret evidence, roving wiretaps, they don't need that stuff now. High-tech, roving wiretaps, they just, immigration, constitutional intimidation, lawfare, all that stuff. Psychological warfare, harassment through the legal system. Okay, we went ahead with that then. But now we have the credibility. We went with that and we told the people what they was going to do then. Can't nobody say nothing to us. We told them what they was going to do. And guess what? They did it. We anticipated exactly what they was going to do. And this stuff here is old because we've been talking about this stuff for I don't know how long. Okay. The simple things like Masjid, school, business, living close together. The white folks permit only enclaves. Daniel Pipes, that's Daniel Pipes, the leading Zionist. Same one that helped with the Danish conspiracy. The guy that did that over in Denmark was his homeboy, they homeboys. So he's writing about this is what they say about us, that these so-called